upskilling my workforce. So what we do there, once you're there, is your organization will come up. Now, if you say, wow, I'm on the website and my organization does not come up, that's because you need to get on the website. And how you do that is through this link here, which is behindeveryemployer.org/join-the-movement. And you'll go there and you'll see it'll have two sections in there. One to get on the locator map, which is a form that you fill out and complete. It goes to COABE, the Coalition on Adult Basic Education, and they get you up on the locator map. So it's a free way of getting referrals from employers. Also on that same link is a toolkit. So the toolkit helps build your brand as a local campaign partner. And that's where the next section of the presentation will get into that. So any questions on getting on this website? I just want to peruse through here and see if we've got anybody. Okay, no questions. Can you paste the link? Yes, can you do that, Kate? If you would do that, we'll paste the link into the chat. And that way you can get right on there. Okay, perfect. So one thing, the reason we built a toolkit for this campaign that's free, that you can download, is that we find there's a big disconnect again in terms of reaching out to employers versus reaching out to a student. And in that, there's a big difference in how you need to conduct outreach to adult learners versus your outreach to employers. What we call in marketing ease is B2C, which is business to consumer. That would be your students you're reaching out to, your adult learners, versus B2B, or you can think of this as organization to organization. You're trying to reach out business to business. And employers need something really different. Think about how you market to your students. You're trying to tell them, what you can do for them in terms of the emotional connection. If they take your classes, how it will help improve their lives, right? Well, for a business, that the value proposition they seek is a little different. They're looking at how can they make their business more efficient? How can they tap into your expertise to help them be competitive? Rather than emotionally driven, they're rationally and logically driven. So data is really important for them. If you're sitting with me as an adult provider and you're saying, you know what, Selena, we worked with similar organizations to actually 5 organizations that are very similar in your industry, and we've helped them do A, B, and C to improve their productivity, to help them retain their workforce. Those are sort of the things, the language, it's results that drive outreach to an employer. That's what's going to get their attention. And yet what we find is that most adult education providers will go for the heartstrings. Oh, help our students. Please help them. They've really had a hard time. Change the language. You want to change the language. Here's an example. This is Ford Next Generation Learning Communities website. We've done a lot of work with Ford. And here's a misstep on what we call a touch point. What is a touch point? A touch point is anywhere that you can connect with a company. And that would be your website would be an important one. Social media would be another, an ad. So these are all what we call touch points. And if I'm an employer going to Ford's website, what is their main message? Their main message on the left is students are at the center of everything we do. I go, okay, well, if I'm an employer, how does your mission do these things for me then? Increase my profitability, enhance my productivity, increase my efficiencies, improve my customer service. You see the disconnect there. So if Ford is really honing in on what they do for employers, there's a misstep. They have a section for home, about, curriculum, products, reports, but nothing for employers. So that's something that you all need to think about locally on your own websites. Do you have a section that says employers? Because we want them to come to our party, but at every touch point, are we inviting them to the table? How do we do that, right? And what is the message we're giving them? So these are some disconnects that we see. Now, here's an example of a regional career technical education campaign, and it focused on students, but also employers. And you can see here, this is the student side of the house. What can I find? What can I be? Where can I go? Ways to pay. This is Find It, Be It. This is a Find It, Be It campaign. And you see there is a section for employers. So we go here and what is in that section? So here we've got regional workforce strategies, workforce models for a competitive advantage. They said, as workforce experts, we know that workforce talent is one of the many things that keeps you up at night. Our collaborative leads facilitates and supports regional workforce initiatives to create a highly skilled workforce. So you see the difference here in language, and I've got in your handout these links that you can go to really study the language. And it's just simply putting yourself in the shoes of a business. It doesn't mean you have to understand their industry inside and out necessarily, or understand their profit and their margins and all that kind of business language. It really isn't. It's just really taking a look at what's the value that adult education brings to them and helping their business run more efficiently. If you can answer that question, then you've really got it made. And the thing is, it's just really a shift in perception. You're marketing, you're promoting the same thing, you're promoting adult education, but how you're doing it in the language is very different. Let me pause there and see if I have any questions. Nope. Okay. All good. All good.
Where will your handouts be, Celine?
Sure. So the handouts, I believe you guys are going to post them on the conference website right under this session. So look for them after the session. I also posted a link in the chat box that allows you to download them now. You just have to put your name and email in them. So if you want to repost that link, it's a bit.ly link.
It's already, just posted. So we did both.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. The other thing you want to consider in communicating to businesses is to have testimonials from your employer partners. So here's one that we posted on the site from the Chamber of Commerce, and it says, "We value our partnership with Clovis Community College. Businesses are always expanding and they really enjoy having a strong local workforce that's being educated here at the college. Career education is a great business investment." You could just replace that with adult education is a great business investment. But you have to, work with your clients, your employers, to really get this type of, testimonial. And Rob and Lily have done a good job on this, and we'll show you what they've done in their innovation. Okay, here's the website link again. If you want to repost this in the chat, that will be great, the Join the Movement. And how you download the toolkit, and I'm going to go through the toolkit items, but there's links here. And one of the links is get on the locator map. So you can just say get listed and fill out the form, and then download the toolkit is here. And what I want to do is go through the toolkit items now, because they're very powerful in helping you build an employer brand. The first thing is a proud partner logo. So you could take this logo and then you have your webmaster, whoever is on your website, saying, insert the name of your organization is a proud partner of the Behind Every Employer campaign that connects employers with education and workforce organizations to help solve their workforce challenges. That alone, if you put it on your website, will cue up employers that, hey, you are there for them. The other thing you need to do is create a section on your website that just says employers in your navigation bar. And in that navigation bar, talks about the value of what you do. Maybe it has some customer testimonials in there and things of that nature. The other thing you could put in that section is a fact sheet. And this is an editable fact sheet. And remember, I said data really drives B2B marketing. And here again, you can put your logo in here. You can put your own social links, your own website. It's got some good language in here that would help drive employers. You can even use this on LinkedIn and post it up to LinkedIn and say, hey, we're here for you, employers. Put it on your website and do an e-marketing campaign, meaning if you've got some business contacts, you can email this and say, hey, I'd love to get an appointment with you to really talk through what we do here in adult education and how we can help your business be more competitive. All right, that's the language you want to use. So there's a fact sheet in there, editable, for put your logo in. The other thing we did is put together a press release, and this probably needs to be updated because this was back in 21, but you'll see here the flow of the press release. And what it does, it announces your joining the Behind Every Employer campaign, right? And it really starts off with some data points and statistics on some of the workforce challenges, maybe the nation's facing and or your local area. And then that goes into, these are the reasons that you have joined the campaign, your organization has. This is what we offer, right? That's the next third paragraph. The fourth one can be a quote from your executive director, your director, about how important this campaign is. And then you can end with, basically your website or your byline. So all done for you, basically. It helps announce that you're part of the campaign. Okay, let me pause there and see if there are any questions. Thank you for posting the links in there. The first part of this presentation is super simple. It really is just tools for you to get on the locator map and download that toolkit that is really geared to promoting employers. Okay, any questions on that? You can certainly put them in the chat. Now it's my pleasure to bring on Rob and Lily, and they're going to talk a little bit and set up the incentive grant that they won. And you can see here how we have co-branded the campaign Behind Every Employer, and it's powered by their organization, which is Monroe County Community School Corporation. So Lily, I think I'm going to turn it over to you, and maybe you can walk through just a little bit about the organization, where you're located, et cetera. That'd be great.
Sure, I'd be happy to. We are located in Bloomington, Indiana. We're an adult education program that is operates within a local school corporation. So I don't know if that is a common practice in California or not, but it's in Indiana. Some adult education programs are within school corporations and others are not. And we are fortunate to be a part of our local school corporation. We are in Bloomington, which is the home of Indiana University. So we're a college town. It is a place where education is really valued. And it's another piece, I think, of the context that became a part of how we've been able to be so successful. We have a lot of support in our community for our work. We're a part of what I would call a relatively large school corporation, at least in Indiana, around 15,000 students, K to 12 or pre-K to 12. And our last year served 644 adult learners. 144 high school equivalency diplomas were a part of that group. We have 7 full-time teachers. 3 of them have the main responsibility of adult basic education or high school equivalency, and 4 of them are English language learning teachers. We also have 4 part-time teachers who help students earn certifications. We're offering CCMA, HVAC, and a CDA course right now. Our services focus on 3 main areas: attaining HSEs, helping students improve their English language skills, and then also helping our students earn certificates. It is really designed, our work is really designed to feed the employer pipeline and to move employees up in the career ladder. And Rob has really done a great job working on the way that we communicate that, so employers know that we are looking to work with them in order to get that done. We've really worked hard to establish relationships with employers, but as you all know, it is challenging. It's an ongoing challenge. It is an area that we all need to work on and improve our skills in engaging them. And we've really learned to look for opportunities and to seize the moment. I think I've learned from Rob that it's not necessarily a linear process. You might find that the relationship is going really well, but then something occurs where there's a little bit of a bump in the road, but you have to always be ready to act when the employer is ready to act. So it's a bit of a dance that we're all figuring out. Rob has laid a really strong foundation. He's had some very innovative strategies in carrying out powerful partnerships in our community with employers. And he's going to tell you a little bit about that. It led to us being recognized and receiving the incentive grant behind every employer. And I've really learned through that and using their toolkit and speaking with Selena and learning from Rob, the importance of being clear and deliberate in communicating with our desired partners and not assuming that they can connect the dots. I didn't mention in my introduction, but I have a long history in public education, but not in the adult education world. And my work previously with promotion of our program has really been about highlighting the work of the students. And it's really been a very, very student focused. So this idea of engaging employers or promoting our work through this other lens has been new to me. It's a really interesting challenge. Again, that we can't assume if they check out our website and see the wonderful things that we do for students, that they're going to connect the dots or make that to decide how we can help their group directly. So we have to target them directly. We have to see employers as our audience and specifically design our materials so that they speak to them. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that later and kind of what I've learned and what I want to accomplish over the course of this year. But before I do that, I'll let Rob talk to you a little bit about his innovations and what led to us being recognized by Selena's organization.
Well, thank you, Lily. Thank you for handing that off. And just let everybody know in the state of California that Lily's going to be 10 times the adult education administrator I ever was. So we're looking for some really wonderful, wonderful things with Lily taking over that local program. So remind you of my background. I was an adult education director in Indiana in 2 different programs. One, a small rural program in southern Indiana, almost to the border of Kentucky, and then in a more urban, medium to large size adult education program in Bloomington, Indiana, which is about 2 hours to the north, kind of a little bit closer to Indianapolis in the center of the state. And in both programs, I really, really valued working with employers because a lot of times that's where our potential students are. They are working. And sometimes in adult education, as many of the folks on the call know, that what is one of the barriers that our students cite to coming to our adult education classes? It's I'm working, right? In addition to childcare and transportation and those kind of things. But one is I'm working. So with that in mind, I really valued working with employers. And then secondly, in both programs, our state rolled out initiatives for us to get involved in working with employers and their incumbent workforce, bringing adult education to them. When I was in southern Indiana, our adult education program statewide was under the Department of Education, and we rolled out an initiative called Adult Education Works in Indiana, using our adult ed funds specifically to bring adult education to employers and their workforce. In about 2011, our state agency changed. We moved over to the Department of Workforce Development, and now we have workforce education initiatives. It's a lot of the same type of work, again, engaging employers and bringing adult education to their workforce to help them with their pain points, as Selena indicated. But it's really wonderful work, and it's really opened up ways for us to serve new students, increase our enrollment, increase our gains, and therefore increase our funding, matter of fact, and just become a better partner in the community. So in Bloomington, our first program actually of taking adult education to the workforce was with Cook Medical. We did a high school equivalency class with them. We also did some work in some of the hotels, working with their English language speaking populations who were actually wanting to learn English so they can communicate with the customers a little more efficiently and work up in the employment chain at those at the hotels. And one we're really kind of known for and was the partnership that we submitted for the grant award was Boston Scientific. Boston Scientific is a medical manufacturing company, international, that has a plant in southern Indiana, near Bloomington, in the next town over, Spencer, Indiana. And during the pandemic, actually, let me take you back before the pandemic, we had just all of a sudden on our doorstep, without warning, about 5 employees of Boston Scientific. They were from the plant they have in Costa Rica. They came to us, literally physically showed up on the doorstep and said that they're working with Boston Scientific and they would like English classes, and they heard about us through our public library and they referred them to us. So we, of course, welcomed into our class the classes we have existing, but I just then called Boston Scientific and I said, hey, I just want you to know that we have about 5 to 7 of your visiting employees from Costa Rica in our English language learning classes. And the management was really excited about that. They want to know how they can help. Do they need laptops or tablets or anything like that? And I said, well, some tablets would really be helpful. So that's the way they just started contributing to that, because we use instructional software and the company was really invested in that. So their job from Costa Rica was to learn some process that Boston Scientific was rolling out in the production, learn that machinery, and then take it back and train their colleagues back in Costa Rica. So that's before the pandemic. Now, during pandemic, where a lot of the folks who have limited English proficiencies in our community, who are not attending IU because they're visiting scholars, they're actually living and working in our community. They, especially the Spanish speakers, tend to be in Bloomington working in hospitality type of jobs. They're in restaurants, they're in hotels. And I know that sounds stereotypical, but it's just a reality. That's kind of where they're working. And during the pandemic, they were pretty well downsized. Boston Scientific, on the other hand, was trying to upsize because they had demand for their medical products. So someone at Boston Scientific, actually, he was originally from Mexico. He was then working at Boston Scientific Human Resources, said, hey, somehow we've got to get those people into our company to work, because we need workers to produce. And so he saw that as an opportunity to hire them. And realizing, though, that they also need some English language support so they can learn the processes and communicate with their coworkers and supervisors efficiently. So I think, having remembered our work with the Costa Rica employees, they contacted us and said, we'd like to partner with you to increase our workforce, because we know those Spanish speakers are needing work. And we would like to help with that and bring them on board with us. So if we were to launch a campaign, could you provide the English language training that they're going to need? I said, well, yeah, of course we can do that. And so it started kind of small. Can't remember how many employees they hired originally, but their campaign for hiring was basically around the Bloomington area that I have marked in red there, Monroe County. But then they said, we need even more. So they started recruiting internationally. Particularly more from Costa Rica, but also Venezuela and some of the South American countries and Central America, bringing them to Spencer, and they would provide them some temporary housing in some of the hotels while they were working on getting more permanent housing. They would help get their green cards, to put them to work as soon as they could get here. Sometimes it's literally a day or two after they set foot in Indiana, and they get them into our English language classes. So they're working full time, taking our English classes on a part-time basis. So the outcomes of the training that the company had in mind, we really paid attention to. It was to read the product specifications for what they were producing, to understand and carry out technical procedures that would be new to them, and thirdly, to communicate, as I said, verbally with coworkers and their supervisors. So we brought them from around the world and from Monroe County to Boston Scientific and into our adult education program simultaneously. Next slide, please. So how we structured this, and it has grown in the last 3 to 4 years. We offered some morning, afternoon, and evening classes to work around the shifts that they would be working. And Boston Scientific, actually, I didn't mention, actually created Spanish-speaking shifts, but they would still have interaction with their English-speaking employees. So we tried to work around the shift work, but they would have some in-class with our teacher, but also we bought them seats in Burlington English to do some coursework and practice outside of class. And that's what our teacher expected, to do some distance learning with that software. About 2 years ago, Boston Scientific came and said, hey, that the English classes are going really well. We could really use some Spanish language training for our English employees and try to bridge that gap a little bit quicker. Now, as our adult educators know, we cannot use our adult education funds to fund that type of training. But Boston Scientific kicked in $12,000 and said, well, we'll help cover English language and Spanish language. So a really nice, again, a contribution from the company because they really value the work that we were doing with them. So we created two classes with them, 2 days a week. One group of students would meet in the morning, one in the evening throughout the week. And again, the company bought them some software, and I want to think it was Rosetta Stone. They may have switched, Lily, I can't remember, they switched over to Babbel, I can't remember for sure, but they may have switched some software so that they can practice outside of class. But again, we provided the instructor, they helped with the cost of that. And so we're kind of helping bridge that gap so we can accomplish those 3 outcomes that the company wanted. Some outcomes, this would be English language outcomes, because again, we can't count the Spanish language students in our AFLA reporting mechanisms and our funding. But for English language learners, in the first 2 program years, we enrolled 139 students. Speaking of adult education side, there's 139 enrollees and students we would have had otherwise without this partnership. And we had 69 measurable skill gains, pre-testing and post-testing using TABE Class C reading and listening. Our adult educators will understand that. So we had some really good outcomes that we were able to report to the company. And so we've been going on with this now for about 3 to 4 years now. And it's been going great. I want to also mention that when Celine and Lily and I are using the word school corporation, that's a term particular to Indiana. We call our school districts corporations. And there's an Indiana history on that. We'll save for a different time. But when we say corporation, that's in California, that's like a school district. Okay, so there's that little bit of history for you. But I'll just conclude my part by saying I highly recommend the campaign that we are talking to you about today, the Behind Every Employer, because it is added to our toolkit of how we communicate with employers. I think that we're able to do it much more effectively, having that business language that we can use. And, I don't come from the business background. I'm totally education. Classroom teaching, high school administration, community college, adult education. And that has really helped me to change the language, and doing the map, definitely get on the map, get on that locator map. Absolutely. So we just saw nothing but benefits for ourselves, our students, and our community.
Wow, Rob, that is just the best story. And I want to just congratulate you guys again for winning the incentive grant, but I also want to unpack some key points that you made just to highlight. And one was the fact that they showed up on your doorstep and they did it through the library. So remember when I said touch points, right? And by the way, you need 5 to 12 touch points to get an employer to engage with you. That's just standard research there. So the library was a touch point for you. Our partners are a touch point that can refer over. Your website is another, social media, all those things, but it just really underscores the value of building your partnerships and letting the partners refer into you as well. The second thing that stood out to me was that you communicated the need. You didn't go in and say, hey, yeah, we could use some laptops and, things like that. You didn't. You really listened to what were their needs. That's a key point. And they said, we need ESL and we need upsizing, right? They may be downsizing over here, but we need upsizing. The third thing that I noticed that you did is that you were flexible. So some of these are nighttime classes. Yet because the company is willing to kick in money, and by the way, they only are kicking in money because they see the value of what you are bringing, they will come to the table and say, well, we can fix that. You might not be able to fund it, but we can. And so the flexibility, and again, sharing with them the value propositions. The other thing that stood out to me is data. If you go back to that slide where I was talking about B2B is all about the data. You here have hardcore data that shows how you are helping the company. So I'd love to hear from the audience, like, what are your thoughts on Rob's campaign? And you can just put them in the chat as we're going through that. But I loved, this is why you won the incentive grant. It was like, it just filled the need in the community and really just had such high benefits and value.
Yeah, and while that's coming in on the chat, I might add with that data, the company actually tied promotions within the company for these English language learners to increased TABE Class C English skills. So they wanted that data. They want to know if Jose went from a level 1 English learner to level 3, they wanted to know that. They wanted to know when their post-tests were going to happen and when those level gains were going to happen, because some promotions were writing on it that they wanted to offer these employees. So there again, we kind of bridged that gap from business and adult education together.
It's so great because you listened to them, Rob, and said, well, what needs to be on your scorecard? How are you going to measure the return on investment if we partner together? They gave it to you, you did it, they came up, and it's just a beautiful partnership. So hopefully you guys are excited about this and see some ways that you can really work with your employers and fill the need. One of the first things we did when Rob got the incentive grant is we met with him and we looked at his touch points. We looked at the website here, and embedded in here is workforce and education, not employers, but there was a section in there that talked about how he could engage employers. But what we ended up doing is building out, as part of the grant, a local campaign website. And you guys can have one of these as well if you work with us. It was just simply behind every employer /Monroe. I think that was I have it down here. Monroe County is the URL for this. And this is now Rob and Lily's new local campaign website. And you can see the messaging is really different. It's very simple. It's one page. And the goal of this is very different, not to bombard employers with everything you do at the school or your programs, but it really is to help educate them on ways to engage with the organization. And you can see the two buttons there, contact us for a complimentary consult. So you see the top part is branded with Rob and Lily's organization, their logo, that type of thing. And then as you scroll down, this is made for mobile. It's like, well, how can they engage with us? And when we first did a consult with Rob, these are the 4 areas that they came up with, which was talent recruitment. And gee, do you see some common language here? Tired of wasting money on recruitment efforts that take too much time. That came right from the National Campaign website. So again, I encourage you to use this language. And then we tweaked out the language for Rob a little bit. We talked about upskilling the workforce, retaining employees as smart workforce strategy, and saves on costly turnover. You can have the language is really different here. Workforce training and industry certifications. And then Rob, did you want to talk a little bit about this advisory board? We put that in there, but as also another way that employers can engage. What is that about?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. And as I kind of lead into that, let me just say, I mean, if you look at these four areas of way to engage with us and the buttons down below, there's not many employers that would say no to those questions, right? Are there many employers would say, no, I don't want to skill my workforce? No, I don't need talent recruitment. Are you kidding me? It's phrased a way to say yes, right? It just really draws them in. Nice job on that, Celine, and your team. Really appreciate that. But in Indiana, our adult education programs are divided into consortia. They correspond to our economic growth regions. There are 11 of them in Indiana. And so our consortiums, which consist of adult educators, and also they could include some community partners. They may include employers also. We meet once a month and go over what are the needs in our community that we could meet with adult literacy, adult education. So right now, I think if there's one group that we really lack around the state on the consortia are employers. So I think this would be a great way to identify employers that would be willing to step up and say, yeah, I'd like to serve. Is one way they can kind of communicate that with us. And that would be really great communication and information we get from employers and emerge some great partnerships from that.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Rob. So think through, when you do a local campaign, what are the ways that employers can engage with you? Maybe you're really pushing work-based learning opportunities as a way. That's fine. Whatever your ways are, but explain it in a way that benefits the company. The third scroll on the website, guess what? Testimonials. And we have here one from Boston Scientific. We also have one for Adam Satter, who is with commercial operations. And so, again, any way that you can get employers to tout what you do, put it on your website, put it on the customer touch points, whether that's a flyer in your social media posts, et cetera. And then the last part of the website, so there's kind of like 4 sections there that just scroll down. It just says, are you employer interested in these services? And this form now goes to Lily for follow-up. And that's it. It's a simple one-pager, but it allows you to recruit employers instead of recruiting students, right? And right now we're having Lily actually put a link on her website to this website to kind of move forward with it. How we got employers to the website was through advertising. So where do employers go? Well, small companies may be on Facebook, but we found that LinkedIn and Twitter were great B2B outreach tools. And so this is an example of some ads, and then we had copy down below with a call to action that drove employers to that website and got Rob and Lily new leads, if you will. So that was the campaign. And Lily, I know you're picking up the ball from here and really working on next steps. So why don't you share a little bit about what you're doing there?
Yeah, so I would say a couple of weeks ago, I asked if Selena if she would meet with me and just bring me up to date on the work that had been done with the campaign and to talk about next steps in preparation for this presentation, but also just in my work. And it was really helpful, and I've taken some steps already, and I look forward to continuing to grow there. But I think one thing was just being sure that we're really clear about our message to employers. And that was a great point that was made just in shaping our message to meet their needs and to really speak the language of employers really hit home for me. Our method has been to rethink the message, to rethink our materials, to rethink our communication. The first thing is just to be strategic in forming partnerships, to really make sure people know we are looking to form partnerships. Just saying that alone, I think, is a pretty easy action step. It's kind of low-hanging fruit, right? So in this month's newsletter, I had a partnership spotlight where I spotlighted some work with a partner, a community partner. And then I also had a section about just saying, we want to work with you, local employers, we can help you, and kind of restated the message that I have on this slide. But I think, again, it's just about being deliberate and putting that message out there. We want to do a little bit more redesign on the website where it said workforce, I can't recall the language on the tab, but workforce education. Yeah. Maybe just saying employers or for employers, simplifying that language a bit so that they know this is for you. And even on the front page, doing something that would attract employers. So again, seeing them as an audience for us and really targeting our communication there. I'm going to create some material specifically targeting them. So of course we have videos and all sorts of things to promote our work and to engage students, but I want to create some videos and other sorts of media to attract employees. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then Selena really has encouraged me to enter their world. I've had a LinkedIn account for a long time, but I have not done much at all with that LinkedIn account. I recently updated my position. That's about as far as I go. But I have made 2 posts on LinkedIn specifically targeted to employers, advertising the work that we're doing in MCCSC adult education, and trying to build my network there. So I'm excited about that work too. So thanks for that nudge, Selena. I remember I attended a workshop about social media once, and I can't remember the exact phrase, but it was something like, I want to be found by strangers on the internet. It's a strange concept, but that's really what we're looking to do. We want to make connections with people that we don't know, and hopefully they can get to know us through our engagement. So those are just a few of the things that I'm going to be working on over the course of the next year. And hopefully we'll see some continual growth in this area.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lily. And I love how you're just picking up the ball and rolling with it. And you're really meeting employers where they're at. So if you have, this is another tip too, is if you're on LinkedIn, they have a lot of industry associations online. So you can go in there and post, and I always call it friendly stalking. You know, it's like friendly stalk. Let's get a list of employers in your area that you think could really benefit from your services, and start just posting, following what they're doing in their company, and look at their website and say, okay, what are their key challenges that they're trying to solve, or congratulating them on an award. They love to be congratulated. You know, just start the ball rolling, so that when you do call them, you're kind of a warm introduction versus just calling them out of the blue, you know?
As educators, it's not always a comfortable place to be in, or for myself, I can say that. I'm getting used to and trying to acclimate to that boldness of, you need us. It's a different thing. So I'm kind of trying to get comfortable with that. Selena, it might be something others struggle with too. I don't know if you have any pointers there or tips. just keep trying. It'll feel better later. Or
I would love to offer three that I thought of last night before our time with you, because I may not present myself this way but I'm actually a really shy person. I am introvert. Okay. So when I talk to employers, I have to bring myself to that. Okay. But I'm going to give you as a bonus here today, three ways that the introvert can start. Okay. To engage with employers. Okay. You ready? Number
Yes.
one,
got my pen ready.
join. Okay. Join this campaign. Get your LinkedIn squared away. Just start putting announcements on Facebook. You don't have to get up from your desk. You don't have to face anybody to do these things, okay? But join the campaign, Behind Your Employer campaign, and get your social media and website with some of that language that would speak to employers. That's one. Okay. Number two, you have an America Job Center in your state or territory, okay, in the state of California. Every state and territory has them. In Indiana, we call them Work One offices, but they're all part of the American Job Centers. There's somebody there who is in charge of engaging with employers, okay? And you may know that person, okay? Maybe you don't, but find out who that person is and just tell them that you want to have a class with employers. Just tell them that, because their job is to help employers with their workforce needs, and they probably love to meet you. Okay, so find and just introduce yourself and just say, hey, can we just visit an employer or two together and let that person do the talking for you, okay? And well, with you, okay? And number three, here's an employer you can start with tomorrow when this conference is over. Your own school district. I saw everybody introduce themselves. Most of you have school districts. Your school district is an employer, right? And they're probably like a little city. They have transportation, they have food service, they probably have security, they have all kinds of jobs, like a little mini city. Maybe you could offer to help them with their bus driver training. Maybe their cafeteria people need surf safe training. You can use your AFLA funds for that. And your school district are probably familiar people. They love you anyway, right? So start there and have a workforce training that you can use as your foundation then to say, hey, we work with this employer group. Now we can branch out beyond our school gates. So there's three the introvert can do.
Wow, Rob, those are so great. And Teresa just also said, we have an American Job Center on our campus. In fact, there are American Job Centers of California here. They're through your Workforce Development Board. And so, yeah, fantastic. Partner up with them. Economic developers are also out there trying to retain employers. So those are another great partner to deal with. The other thing you could do, instead of saying, hey, you need us, you could say, ask questions and say, hey, do you have a challenge right now with employee turnover? How much money are you spending on recruiting for new employers, for new employees? Where are you tired of wasting money? Some of those questions that are on the website, you can actually just post those on LinkedIn and just say, if so, we have a solution for you. Contact us. It's more of a softer thing, right? And then eventually they'll get to know you and want to connect. Great strategies. Does anybody else have any strategies they want to share? You can certainly put them in the chat box, but I love these. They're just absolutely perfect. Absolutely on point. Okay, as we're winding down here, I want to give you the summary steps of how you can build your local employer brand. Again, going to the Behind Every Employer / join the movement. If we can put that link back in there, that will be good. One more time. But here are the steps, really. You want to get on the locator map and download the toolkit. And if you go to that website, you will see the ability to do both of these action steps. So that's the first thing you want to do. The second thing is make sure your website has a section specifically for employers to help them understand how you serve them. And so what I might do if I were in your shoes, because I know many of you on the call are not webmasters, you're educators, but you have a webmaster that manages your website and say, hey, I really want to put the navigation bar section for employers, and here's some text, and go to the national campaign website or behindeveryemployer.org and use some of that language as well. Tailor it for your needs. You can even put the fact sheet, tailor that fact sheet and put it in that section, maybe with some customer testimonials, okay? Just make sure that that website section is focused on the benefits employers receive from working with you. You don't tell them how your ESL classes are run and all that kind of stuff. You just give them in fact, less is more. Just focus on the benefits, right? Also include on that little web page that you're going to do employer testimonials, and I've given you a little formula here. If the employer can talk about the challenge they had, the solution that you brought, and the benefits to their company. Those 3 simple things are really great. And if you can throw in some data points, even better, right? Like what Rob had shared with you earlier. Consider a local lead generation campaign to attract employers to your website and your organization. And that's what Rob did with us. If you want to contact me, Selena, I'll put it in the chat box, Selena at fullcapacitymarketing.com. And you guys can contact me and we can talk about how we can run a local lead generation campaign for you. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Actually, Kate, that's not quite right. It's fullcapacitymarketing.com. Selena at fullcapacitymarketing.com. And you can check out there. I've also in your handouts given you everybody's contact information here. So if you want to reach out to us, we are available as well. I don't see any questions in the chat box, so I am going to then toss it back to Kate to close out our session. And thank you, Rob and Lily, for sharing your innovations with us.
Thank you very much, Selena, Lily, and Rob, for sharing your story and journey with this very important topic, which we appreciate. We do have a request to go back to the previous slide. And also, I wanted to let those folks know that the slide deck will be available on the conference website, or you can go back to the 2 links provided earlier, the bit.ly, sign in, put your name, and then you can download those links. I'll go back and retype in a sec if not. Thank you so much. Any other questions? It says, can you please go back to the other slide? Okay, before that one. You want us to go back, CM? You want us to go back to the next before this one? You're also can unmute too, if you'd like to let us know.
I think that's, yeah, this is it.
This
Okay,
is it.
good.
Perfect. And then Sean, did you have a question?
Yes, please. Where do I find the slide deck? One more time, please.
The slide deck will be posted to the campaign, to the website. So Cape has the download link for bit.ly. So Cape, if you guys could download it and then upload it to your site, you have it now. So it should be on the conference website. You can also email me if you're dying to get it this second. I'm happy to send it to you. Happy to do it. And guys, make sure to connect with us on LinkedIn as well. We've got a lot of good free resources at Full Capacity Marketing. There's a blog post if you check out our website where we're always educating the market on how to market properly. You can connect with us through all the social platforms, and I'm always available on email for consults.
Thank you so very much for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm just going to go ahead and paste the other link. The bit.ly, for whatever reason, is giving us a little struggle. Okay, you're getting lots of thanks. And by the way, your community here stuck with you. It may seem quiet, but you've got to trust me when I say everyone was listening in depth and thanking you. Great info.
We didn't chase them away.
Yeah, you didn't. And with the basketball puns, I was worried.
I know, me too.
It's like,
me too.
oh, my mercy. But anyway, thank you very much for your time. And everyone is very positive. And anyway, take good care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye. Thank you for joining the session.